Hi everyone, John Poker Chip Friedberg here with another episode of Stacking Chips, your strategy source for the 2007 World Series of Poker, the Bellagio Cup, which started yesterday, and the dozens of other events going on here in lovely Las Vegas. So I didn't have much luck yesterday in the 2500 No Limit event. I was at a table with a complete orangutan who played every hand, and after making a pretty big raise with an ace-king and a standard continuation bet on a 10-high flop, and him calling me, I realized that my hand was no good at that point. Sure enough, he had the 10-queen and beat me out of half my chips. Then I had pocket 10s, ran him into pocket queens. Then my last 700, I went on with a 10-5 of diamonds on 150, 300 blinds. Got called by pocket 7s, 2 red 7s, I might add. And the flop came 3 high cards with a 10, but all 3 were spades. So it was like king, jack, 10, all spades. Turn was like the 5 of spades. So the guy's got 1 out to beat me and 9 outs or 8 outs or something to tie me at that point. So I said to the dealer, "Don't do it, dealer." Sure enough, 7 of clubs on the river, so I got 1 carded to get knocked out of the tournament with my last 700 in the pot. So whatever, no big deal. Today's the 1500 No Limit Shootout. I'm excited. I like shootouts. I used to be a long-time sit-and-go player, and I like the format. So I'm looking forward to hopefully winning my table and advancing on to the next level. And we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to get right on to bringing my next guest on for the show. He's another young online hotshot. He's been at many final tables recently, including a win, a World Poker Tour win for over $1 million at the Mirage about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He plays under the online name Fiery Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jonathan Little. Jonathan, thanks for coming on the show, man. Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So, how do you feel, man? About a month ago, you took down a World Poker Tour title for over $1 million. I don't know if you're the youngest ever to do that.
I think I'm the 3rd youngest.
Oh, well, wow. And how old are you?
Young guys, 22.
Wow. You're kind of old. I thought you
I'm
were
an
a
old
young
man.
gun.
I'm not a young gun anymore.
Well, congrats, man. How do you
Thank
feel?
you.
Tell us a little bit about your experience doing that.
It feels great, just everything went right, and it's great when that happens.
And you've been at a few other final tables recently, haven't you?
I've gotten the top 9 4 times in a row in the last
Wow.
few weeks, and I've just been running hot.
Sounds like it. So you're also here playing the World Series, and you made it to day 2 in yesterday's 2500 No Limit event. How's that going for you?
It's going okay. I have about 10 big blinds, but really everyone at my table has about 10 big blinds besides a few people, and they're all on my right, so hopefully they can raise and I'll just go all in and they'll fold, ideally. But just have to look for a hand and get in with it.
Yeah.
You win.
Are you guys in the money now?
We just got in the money at the end of last night, which is 99 people are left.
Okay. Well, you're a strong pre-flop player. I mean, I think there's sort of 2 types of tournament players, and I would say most tournament players are probably better at pre-flop play, whereas most cash game players are probably better at post-flop play. That's the John Friedberg opinion.
That's definitely true.
But I've played with you. I've had the benefit of playing with you quite a bit. You and I played together yesterday. We played at 2 final tables together in at the Atlantis Poker Stars, and also at the Mirage final table. By the way, you outlasted me in both of those. Do you think I ever have a shot at outlasting you in a final table?
I run better than you.
I guess so. We had some pretty sick suckouts against each other, though.
We did. We both hit 2 outers against each other in the Mirage tournament.
I got the one that counted, though, more than yours.
Well,
but yours led to winning $1 million.
Mine
didn't.
Pretty well, too.
But, you're probably going to, you're comfortable where you're at right now with 10 big blinds. That's a pretty good range for you.
I mean, you just get a hand and go with it. There's no real tough decisions, and just an easy game. You either win or you lose right now, and that's fine with me.
How's your table? Do you know who's at your table yet for the day?
It's a pretty rough table. It's the same table as yesterday, actually. Hollingall's to my left, and Keto Fam's a few seats over. The guy on my right just won the Mandalay Bay main event. What's his name? I forgot his name. Steve?
I don't know.
I think it's Steve Buchanan or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, he plays pretty aggressive.
He plays pretty good.
Yep.
And a few other people, but I think it's okay because they're not going to have an edge over me on pre-flop, so that's fine.
So I want to ask you a question about pre-flop play. Some players think that it's good to mix up your betting sizes pre-flop. So let's pretend the blinds are 1 and 200. Some players will bring it in for a raise for 400 sometimes, 800 sometimes, 550 sometimes, 600 sometimes. They're always raising different amounts. And of course, the good players are tricky about sometimes raising to 400 with aces, sometimes raising to 800 with aces. The good players are good at mixing it up. The bad players tend to, that's a big tell sometimes is how much they raise, because they, if they have an ace-king or an ace-jack, a hand they don't want action on, they'll raise it to 1,000. If they have aces, they'll raise it to 400. What's your thought on sort of the size of the pre-flop raise coming in?
Against a table full of weaker players, I generally mix it up to try to make them think something. Like, I'll raise a little bit bigger to make them think I have a weaker hand if, they'll actually think that. But against most good players, I would just do a normal 3 times raise, or sometimes later 2.5 times the big blind, just because they're not going to fall for any ridiculous betting tells like that anyway, so just might as well play optimally against them.
Yeah, I agree. The better players obviously can pick up on that, and every now and then I think it's nice to put in an overbet just to sort of throw off your opponent, because
right.
Even the good players do that often. When a lot of times if it comes down to like blind battle, for example, it's folded around, the small blind just calls, and the big blind will usually put in a bigger than 3x raise there. It seems
he's supposed
like
to put in a bigger than 3x raise. Well, he's not supposed to, but he's generally trying to win the hand right there.
Right, but I think it's fun to get tricky in that spot sometimes and throw in like a 6x raise, with kings or queens.
Well, it might make them think you have nothing.
Oh, a lot of times it does.
It does, and then they'll push over you and you'll win a big pot.
Absolutely. I did that to somebody at the Mandalay tournament, actually. It worked out very well. But so you're here for the World Series. Have you had any success yet this year?
I've had no success so far.
Okay, well, so this is your first cash.
This is my first cash out of like 8 tournaments, but nothing's been going right so far until this last tournament, so hopefully I can do well in this one.
Well, I hope you do. What are your plans beyond this tournament? I mean, for the rest of the World Series, are you going to play a lot of events?
I'm going to play most of the World Series events and a few of the bigger Bellagio ones, most likely, whenever there's not a big event in the World Series.
Have you heard much about Bellagio events?
I haven't heard anything about them.
What do you think? Do you think they're going to have a good turnout?
I think they'll probably get 200 or 300 people for the smaller ones, probably like 100, 150 for the big ones.
I just heard that yesterday was the first event. It was a 1,500. I heard they got, I think, 140 players.
Oh, goodness.
So
it's not good.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of people are certainly wondering why Bellagio was running these events, but there's also a lot of people that have a loyalty to Bellagio.
That's very true.
And prefer to play the events because they're better structured, they're better, they're more consistent with their rulings. Certainly, that's what Jack will tell you.
Definitely.
And but of course, the prestige and sort of what goes behind winning a bracelet, all of the pros feel that there's huge value to winning a bracelet because not only is it a bracelet, of course, but there's endorsement opportunities beyond that. And so I think a lot of the bigger name pros are going to be more focused just on the World Series and trying to win bracelets. And the World Series is such a rat race this year with 55 events that everyone's scrambling to try to eat and sleep and get in all these events. So, I don't know how anybody's going to have time for the Bellagio.
I really don't know either. I mean, they start all the events at 1 p.m. also, which is kind of a bad time. If they would start them at 3 p.m. or something like that, I think it would give a lot of players opportunity to lose the World Series event and then run over here to Bellagio.
I agree. 1 o'clock is silly because how often are you out of a tournament by
exactly.
1?
No
or even by 12:30, so you can get over here by 1. So I think they might end up changing that, though. I would be surprised if they didn't extend it till 3 or 4 p.m. Because that would be smart. I mean, if I'm out of a tournament at 1 or 2,
I would certainly come over here
to
play.
Absolutely. So tell us about your plans after the World Series. You plan on playing a lot more WPT events and traveling around quite a bit?
I've been playing all the WPT events since December or so. So, I mean, it's just normal stuff, I'm going to go to Los Angeles for sure for the bicycle stuff. And then, I'm not sure what's after. I think it's Borgata is after that. Or maybe one in Biloxi. So
yeah,
I'm just going to go play all of those.
I think last year it was Borgata. This year, I don't even know. They changed the schedule on us a little bit. So, you're an online player originally.
That's correct.
So, tell us a little bit about sort of your background as an online player and how you transitioned into live poker. And do you still play online?
I used to play a lot of sit and goes. I would probably 12 table the $200 sit and goes on Party Poker for about a year and a half, and was pretty good at those. And after that, I played a few multi-table tournaments here and there. I chopped a Sunday Million on Stars once for 90,000, and after that I had a little bit of money to go play the World Series last year. And that's pretty much when I started playing live poker a lot, and it wasn't really going well until January when I did well in the event in Bahamas, and since then it's been going great.
Awesome. Well, I hope that success continues for you.
Hopefully.
You're certainly off to a great start with, about $1.5 million in cashes so far in 2007.
Something like that.
So congratulations to you. Best of luck in day 2 in the 2500 and for the rest of the World Series.
You too.
I'm sure you and I will end up at some more tables together.
Seems like every time we play we're at the same table.
And hopefully some final tables.
Hopefully.
All right, man.
Thanks
a lot for coming on the show. Again, good luck. All right, everyone. That's it for today's episode of Stacking Chips. Make sure to tune in tomorrow and every day throughout the World Series for more strategy talk, discussion, interviews, and more right here on Card Player TV. And keep those emails coming in at stackingchips@cardplayer.com. From John Poker Chip Friedberg
and Jonathan Little,
we're out of here. Good luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.